Well, let's turn now to the war between Israel and Hamas. Due to the lingering war and escalating violence in the occupied West Bank, Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammad Shtayyeh has announced the resignation of his government, which rules parts of the occupied West Bank. Prime Minister Shtayyeh, who submitted his resignation to President Mahmoud Abbas on Monday, says the decision to resign came in light of the unprecedented escalation of violence in the West Bank and Jerusalem, as well as genocide and starvation in the Gaza Strip. The Prime Minister's decision comes as U.S. pressure grows on the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas to shake up the Palestinian Authority and begin to work on the political structure that can govern a Palestinian state as a result of the war. And the U.S. is warning that without a credible plan to evacuate Palestinians, it would not support a campaign on the invasion of the city of Rafah in Gaza. The cabinet also approved a plan for providing humanitarian assistance to Gaza in a manner that will prevent the looting that occurred in the northern strip and other areas. But the Israeli Prime Minister has pledged to press ahead with his intention to invade Rafah to allegedly wipe out Hamas. We have more in this report.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel cannot leave the last Hamas stronghold in Rafah, which has 4 command battalions concentrated there, without Israel forces wiping it out completely. He says once Israel begins the Rafah operation, the intensity of fighting will complete the clearing of Hamas in weeks, not months. Mr. Netanyahu also explains he has asked the Israeli Defense Forces to submit a double plan. One is to enable the evacuation of Palestinian civilians in Gaza, and the other to destroy the remaining Hamas battalions. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says negotiators have come to an understanding on a potential deal, but talks are still underway in Qatar. Hamas has not yet signed up to Israel's framework for a peace deal, and Israel has described the one presented by Hamas as delusional. But that has not stopped his optimism that more Israeli hostages will be released.
3 war goals. The first is to release the hostages. The second is to destroy Hamas. And the third is to ensure that Gaza does not pose a threat to Israel in the future. And obviously, the 3 are intertwined. They're achieved basically by our very effective and often heroic military operation, and also by tough negotiations. We're combining the 2, and I hope it yields a result.
Prime Minister Netanyahu is of the view that he is misunderstood by some world leaders. He says he's doing his best to keep civilians out of harm's way, and Hamas is desperate to keep them there.
They said you cannot fight that. You can't enter Gaza City. You can't go into the tunnels. It'll be a terrible bloodbath. All of that turned out to be not true. Our soldiers are in the tunnel network. We don't have to take apart hundreds of kilometers of tunnels. We are taking apart the missile production factories that are underground, the command and control headquarters, the computers that are there, the money that is there, the weapons that are there, and the ammo that is there. We're doing that methodically. So we're doing the war. You can't substitute for the Israeli military command, and we're doing it very responsibly. The John Spencer, who's the head of urban warfare at West Point, says that no other army has gone to the lengths that Israel's army has gone to clear civilians out of harm's way, even though Hamas is doing everything to keep them in harm's way.
As the war rages on, Israeli forces say they have successfully launched an attack on weapons and sites used by Hamas and destroyed them in Zitun. According to the Gaza Ministry of Health, more than 29,000 people have been killed in Gaza since the war began on the 7th of October 2023.
Meanwhile, the